Yeah, sorry, I don't have a topic tonight. I'm sorry.
You've not done your homework.
Second week.
I've been trying to get stuff sorted for tomorrow, and it's been an absolute nightmare. I apologise.
I'm not going to have a go at you because I know what you've been trying to do. So consider this you 1 week where you get a right?
I'll take.
We'll let you off.
I'll take
completely. Right. Next week, I expect a full, 500 words on your special subject.
Okay. I can maybe come up with one while we're going. I apologise, though.
It's all right, mate.
It's all right. No, I haven't got anybody either, so don't worry about it. We're in good company, Joe.
Me and James then are the only ones who've bothered with our...
neither of you have been messaged by a Nigerian person asking to have your palm read, so...
No, let's get into that in a minute. Let's do a quick intro. I'm Scotty. To my left is Mr. Young, Mr. Smith. Top corner is Jay Motter, and then above my head is the citizen of the world, as he was telling us before the show started, Mr. James Young, who was being. Let's talk about this chicken sacrificing situation. What you were getting up to during last week.
Well, it was a WhatsApp message as usual, which is where a lot of my great conversations start with Nigerian men.
Wow! I'm glad to see I'm not alone.
Each their own,
And he asked me whether actually I'll get the exact message that he sent to me. It wasn't quite as it was quite direct actually. It just said, "Hello, my beloved brother. Have you ever thought of doing spiritual reading about your spiritual life and path before? You need to get your reading done. It's important." So most people would ignore that, but I decided to go along with it. And I sent him a picture of my left palm, and he asked for my name, and like all this other stuff that I just gave fake information for. And then he actually video called me and got his mate in this temple to do like this weird sacrifice. And then he told me all this stuff, which is presumably bollocks. And then he wanted me to burn some cloth. His mate Aoife video called me and then said all this stuff. So he said that Aoife said, "A lot of blessings, house, car, wife, kids, money, promotion and job for you, but you need to do the sacrifice. After the sacrifice, you will be chased with money, young and adults." Aoife said, "If you will do the sacrifice because of war, if you do the sacrifice, they will not sack you from your job. But if you don't have a job, unless you do the sacrifice, you have to do the sacrifice." So I wasn't doing the sacrifice. And then he asked me for 20 quid to get the materials to burn the cloth.
Right. Well, I'm not going to get my deposit back on this sacrifice. I said we're going to be doing 2 sacrifices. If I just turn up, I'm not getting that money back. You owe me 20 quid.
What did he want you to sacrifice?
Some cloth. He wanted me to burn some cloth.
Burn some cloth?
And James, if you just spin your laptop around, you're there with them now, aren't you? You're sacrificing cloth live on air from Nigeria.
It was, to be honest, I mean, it was quite an elaborate money-making scheme.
I know you're not a child, but I worry about you sometimes when you say you're video calling these people.
No, I had myself. I turned my camera off so he couldn't see me. But yeah, that was.
What the fuck?
Mate. You know, we can see you in the bottom corner there.
No, because I've blurred my face. I've turned the camera off, so only I can see that.
Right, okay. You blurred your face. Covered your face in an inch of Vaseline so they couldn't see who you were.
That's just what it looks like on WhatsApp. When you press the video off, it's just on your side.
I can't believe you like actually video called.
So all of that for 20 quid?
Yeah.
I know. What is this guy on about? Like, sacrifice cloth and just send me 20 quid and you got all these blessings. Have you noticed any change? Did it help?
I mean, no, I don't think it will. I mean, I'm not really big into it. He said that I'm now cursed because I didn't actually give him the money. He said, actually...
I'd be proper paranoid if it had been, if that was me, I might have just paid the 20 quid, just out of pure thought.
I'd have paid
it. You know what I mean? The following week, any shit that goes wrong, you're going to go like, I wish I'd burnt that cloth. It's just not worth it.
He's quite clever and it's only 20 quid, so you might think, you know what, like...
He's cast a spell on me now.
I've made worse investments for 20 I've made worse investments for 20 quid, do you know what I mean? It's not the worst thing that I'll ever pay 20 quid for.
This sounds like was it the Yaya Toure doctor?
I needed it because of my life. That's what he said, apparently.
Right.
And I'm cursed forever if I don't do it.
Oh, mate. So you've just took the chance that this is all nonsense and you're just going to take the curse. I mean, it's not really
backed by anything, is it?
Well, it sounds like, I told you, didn't I? We were chatting about the guy that used to do it on the telly that me and Missy stumbled across one night.
Uri Geller?
No, not Uri Geller. He was some pastor and he used to tell people to ring in and buy his book. And if you get your book, it'll give you all these blessings. And then people used to ring in and say things to him like, the doctor's giving me these tablets because I can't, I've got stomach pains. And he'd say, I don't want you to take them tablets. Thrust those tablets down the toilet and just pray. And I think, like, why is this guy giving medical advice on the telly? Like, when he's obviously not a doctor. And he would tell people, like, send me money and you'll be all right. And loads of people, you could see it, like, sending in money, like, for blessings and things like that and to get well. And I used to feel a bit bad for him, but it was obviously like a load of nonsense. But
it's like horoscopes, isn't it? It's just drivel.
Yeah.
Well, interesting you mentioned Uri Geller there, because I've got a story here from the last week. And I don't know if anyone's seen this. This is Uri Geller taking credit for Muller's miss in Germany versus England. Has anyone seen this?
No. Did he tie this in with the 96 miss from the penalty?
Well, that was another one that he apparently took credit for. He was apparently so. He was about to go on stage. He said, "There was no doubt in my mind I was responsible for Muller's miss. I was about to go on stage. I was behind the curtain. Shippy, who's his brother-in-law and assistant, nepotism, had the Euro app on his phone, and I was watching the match. The saxophone player also had the match on, and he will vouch that as Muller shaped the shoe, I shouted 1, 2, 3, bend." And then the ball bent wide. And that was, that made front page news, that story. So thank you to Uri Geller for sorting that out. I don't know why he'd really want England to win over Germany anyway, to be honest, but he chose that and it's up to him. So, yeah, it's not just you that's been...
Front page of what paper, out of curiosity?
It was the front page of...
I'm not doubting you, I'm just wondering.
It was the front page of the Jewish Telegraph. And I saw that on Twitter because I follow, who is it? I can't remember his name, who puts all the next day's newspapers on the night before.
Is it Ian Handopoulos? Tomorrow's Papers Today. They mixed it. Abby does it as well. There's a few of them, yeah.
Yeah. I follow them and that was on there and I thought, that's front page news. That's a slow news day, isn't it? Come on.
I remember him saying it about McAllister's penalty miss in 96. Yeah. He said because the ball, if you watch it, moves slightly, doesn't it? And he took credit for that, saying that he moved the ball on the penalty spot. It wasn't the wind or anything else, or because it was just on a bit of a divot or whatever. It was him. Not only can he bend spoons, he can move balls as well. So who are we to argue? It sounds legit to me. Yeah.
Also, after back of the England beating Germany game, did you see the comments the young girl was getting by some of the fucking England fans on social media, which was horrible. If anyone didn't see it, there was a young Germany fan who was crying her eyes out because the team was going home. But someone on Twitter has done a crowdfunding thing now to try and cheer her up, hasn't there? And it's not. I don't think it's got the reception that he was hoping for. He's been called all sorts.
I think the thing, what will cheer that little German girl up is if the guy that's done the crowdfunding thing goes and buys himself a brand new car. I think that'll proper cheer her up.
That's where
money's going.
Have you seen how much? 35 grand they've got so far.
But apparently I'm not up to speed with it all, but last thing I read was that he'd not found her, he'd not been in touch, and he had no affiliation with her, and basically just got access to all his money now. So some people
are there not better places to be spending 35 grand than a girl who's clearly got enough money to fly from Germany, have a full kit on, and be at a game that most people would dream of being at that probably costs multiple hundreds of pounds? Probably better causes than that, isn't there? Maybe, don't know, even if you wanted to stick to football, defibrillator to a grassroots club might be a place to start. I think she'll probably be all right with that.
Can you imagine being the parents, though, and you got this fucking English bloke knocking on the door in Germany? I've got 35 grand for your 6-year-old. What the fuck? Get away from me, house.
If I had a kid, I'd be getting tickets to the next game, tickets to the semi-final, tickets to the final, hoping the camera panned to my kid's face and squeezing his hand as hard as I could. If I'm getting 35 grand out of it, I'll make my kid cry for that. No question about it. If he cries on camera and I get a GoFundMe, I'll do anything I can for that.
For 35 grand, you can have one of my kids.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Where's my compensation anyway for being in bloody Gdansk on the world feed?
You'd gone beyond crying. You look like you're ready to run on the pitch and kill someone, James.
But the thing is, right? I still get people that, I saw you on the telly last month. Did you?
My missus sent it to me. I was watching it, and she went, "Isn't that James, your mate?" And she just sent me this, like, WhatsApp me the picture, and it just looked you fucking fuming. I was like, "Yeah, that's him." But the whole, like, the thing was with, like, the girl crying, like, some of this, as you had mentioned, Scotty, obviously the stuff that was going online was just, some of it was proper vile. You know, it went from, like, light-hearted to just completely crossing the line. But then this reaction, and like you say, Joe, you know, when you're looking at some of the things you could be raising money for, and you're raising it for a girl who's crying, who's obviously got money and probably won't even see the money that's being raised in her name anyway, it's just beyond ridiculous, isn't it? It just really is. And it's like, come on. And then now everyone's at it, weren't they? The same joke was going around for the Ukraine game when there was those two girls and one of them was upset. And it was just like, everyone was screenshotting it and like, oh, I'm going to start GoFundMe and all that. And I just think, oh, fuck, you know, here we go. And the only sort of issue with that is, sometimes I feel like GoFundMe can be a good thing. Like, it can genuinely help raise, you know, money for decent causes or for worthwhile ideas, whatever. But sometimes, it just seems like it's like, let's just start GoFundMe for anything. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you know, someone's going through a bad time or whatever, let's do a GoFundMe. And you think, all right, well, what's the actual money for? And B, how many times are these people being checked? And is this actually going to what you think it is? Yeah. Because when I was reporting, the GoFundMe thing sort of exploded. And there was always people getting in touch, you know, oh, I'm doing a GoFundMe and raising money and da-da-da. And, you know, I've had instances where we'd interview someone who'd been the victim of something or gone through heartbreak, and they didn't know anything about this GoFundMe. You know, when you say to them, oh, there's a GoFundMe, they'd be like, oh, I don't know anything about that. So, yeah, it does seem a little bit dodgy, and it's a shame because it's probably going to put, like, people off donating from actual causes that probably need it.
Yeah, that's what pissed me off massively following the Manchester bomb in 2017, where you'd have everyone sort of painting bees at home and saying, we're going to give a percentage of these T-shirts and mugs to the bomb charity. I was like, well, what percent? I asked them what percentage, or just a small percentage. Well, what is that? You know how much proved it, and it just didn't matter that horrible market of the.
It still exists now. If you go to a Christmas market in Manchester, there's all sorts of tat with bees on, and it's like none of this is going to charity or anything that the actual whole thing was set up for. You're just basically profiting off a terrorist attack.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, there was something like luggage going around with bees on it, and there was nothing. None of the money was going towards, you know, the arena attack victim. It was just like, oh yeah, we'll make some, you know, money out of it, and just think, come on, man, you know, have some morals.
Yeah, better than that. What did you think about the England game then? I presume you all watched it.
Joe's massive England fan, aren't you, Joe? He was loving it.
I liked it. Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, I enjoyed myself. It was good. The scenes in town after were better, to be honest.
Was you in the Northern Quarter?
Carnage. Yeah, I walked through Stevenson Square. It's too much for me, really, if I'm honest with you. I can't be in a crowd of 200 people, and everyone was like circled around this sort of like garden bit, not a garden, it's like a little plant pot thing with about 10 people stood on it with flares, but it was too much for me, so I walked on past. But I enjoyed it from a distance, but I'm glad England won. Yeah, I like it.
Is Sheffield like mega into England then? Because their teams, like obviously like in Manchester, you've got like United, City, they're more successful, so it tends to be sort of the smaller teams that attach themselves to England because they don't win as much.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, works up where I'm from originally, as Sheffield is. Yeah, everyone is around there.
Do you know what though? Scotty, me and you watched the semi-final, didn't we, together in the World Cup? And when it's a World Cup or a Euros or something, I proper get into it. I do. Like when Trippier scored that goal, that was against Croatia. That was one of the sort of best times I've had as a football fan.
Yeah,
in years. I fucking love that. I did. I actually, did get carried away for those 20 minutes or whatever when we were 1-0 up, thinking we're going to get to the World Cup final, we're going to win it and all that. It was mint. And the other night, I think that what I like about this England team, and I think, we've mentioned it before, me and you, Scott, as well, probably Youngy on this podcast, is they're not dislikable in the way that other England teams have been. Like, I've always struggled to get behind you John Terrys and you Steven Gerrards and players like that, because I just think, oh, fuck off. Whereas I don't dislike Jordan Henderson. I know he plays for the Scousers, but I don't hate the guy. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't have that like sort of feeling towards him. I don't hate John Stones or, you know, players that play for Man City or whatever. I might not love him, but I don't hate him. And I can sort of buy into what Gareth Southgate's about, even though I don't think he's the best manager. I think he's a good guy. Do you know what I mean? He's like he gets the ambassadorial side of it going. And also, you know, there is a big United element to it as well. If you're just going to have me United out on, you know, Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw were mint, and obviously we just bought Jadon Sancho, who was fucking outstanding. So yeah, it's very easy to like this England team and to get behind it, rather than other teams in the past where it's been a bit of a struggle, to be honest.
Yeah. Why do you think the changes, though, in terms of the sort of personalities? Because is there anyone really across the Premier League that you hate in a way that you might have done back in the day with your John Terrors? There isn't any sort of evil pantomime characters in the Premier League. Maybe that fucking, what is it, the jelly deal seller from West Ham, Mark Noble, Mr. Brexit.
I'm glad you chose him.
But apart from him, there's not really anyone that I go like, no, I fucking hate him. There's not really any sort of...
Do you remember when he tried to fight Pogba that time and it was the most pathetic thing ever, and he sort of came squared back down again?
It's like when my lad loses his temper and you just put your hand on his head. Do you know, when he's like punching thin air? Like, pack it in and calm down as you go to bed. It was that, wasn't it? And Pogba just sort of went like that with him and threw him away.
Like, was he a little bit of litter or something?
Yeah, he literally went at one point, just like, go away. And then at the end, Noble was like making a big song and dance of hugging, like, oh, we're all mates now. And I thought, you're mates because you did nothing to him. Like, you tried to get him, and he just swatted you away like a fly, and you just made a knob of yourself. So, yeah, I know. But going back to what you're saying, Scotty, no one springs to mind. You know, you asked me over the years, and there'd be someone that straight away I'd be like, oh, it's Suarez or it's Terry or it's whoever. And there's not really, you know, there's players I don't like, obviously, but, you know, no one like a really sort of...
There's no divisive figures, and I don't think that the captains exist in the same way that they did with Keanes and your Gerrards and your John Terrys in football teams nowadays anyway, do they really?
No, and I think that, you know, we've seen a lot of sort of collective stuff during the pandemic as well, like players doing stuff together, backing each other. You know, when Marcus was doing his thing, a lot of rival players were tweeting about it and backing him. You see, like, someone like, I know it's different, but the abuse that Sterling was getting over those years, you know, when all the press were hammering him, made me sort of want to defend him, even though he's a City player that played for the Scousers. You find yourself defending him, and you never would have, you know, it's never been like that in the past. And I think, you know, he's done a lot of good stuff. You know, there's other players from other clubs that have done a lot of good stuff as well in terms of, like, you know, societal issues. So I do feel like this, I don't know whether it's a generational thing, but it does feel a little bit more like there is a bit more, I don't know, camaraderie between players than there was in the past.
One player who I don't like is Robertson for Liverpool. He seems like a real knob. Just this sort of smug, back to the day job, holding the Champions League trophy. Got to be in work in the morning. Like, just piss off. That's so shitty rubbish. That he annoys me. I think
James Milner, actually, he's another one.
Yeah, he's a bit frustrating.
Do you know what I hate about him as well? Go on, Joe. Sorry. No,
social media. I think social media helps people seem more human and more likable. When you can see him having a laugh and messing about, and you see tweets about the charity work they do, and people sort of, you know, like the stuff Jordan Henderson's done over the last 12 months. If you know, a lot of that has been on social media where I found out about that kind of thing. And these people, you get information about them much more quickly, and you see the lighter side of them and the nicer side of them. I think that makes you like people a little bit more. But yeah, Robertson hasn't quite penetrated that, and unfortunately, I still don't like him.
Yeah, no, I remember that tweet that you're on about, and that wound me up. But the thing going back to Milner was, you know, he tried to play on this boring thing when he was doing those tweets of him measuring the grass and, you know, making sure it's all level. And I think that's not funny. Just pack that in. Do you know what I mean? Like, why are you doing that? Do you know what I mean? Like, just fucking either don't do social media or just do normal tweets about your new fucking football boots or whatever. Don't try and play on this idea. Oh, look how boring I am. I'm measuring the grass. And then you get all the Scousers liking it. You think that's not even remotely funny. You're being a dick. So yeah, I get that. But I just feel like, I don't know. Yeah, it's weird because you know, that's usually what gets me out of bed in the morning is who I hate. But yeah,
I tell you who I have found more hatred for during this European Championship. are the pundits or the commentators? Fuck me, Jesus Christ, Sam Matterface. You talk about James Milner, fucking Sam Matterface and Jermaine Jenas. Purgatory is being sat between them two for the rest of your life. That's in a waiting room.
It's amazing. Like there was all the Jermaine Jenas covered himself in glory again, didn't he? In the Ukraine game, because he was talking about how Kyle Walker and Jadon Sancho had a good relationship because of their time at City together, and how they'd have trained together at City, and weren't they at City together for about a month or something?
It's like 6 weeks or something.
Yeah, which he just didn't know. He's just like, oh, they both play for City. Yeah, that's where they got the understanding from. Sam Matterface, who was what was it? He said when he likes to shoehorn in things, doesn't he? You know, he's obviously written it at home.
Did you see that meme that was like Clive Tilsley says you shouldn't like shoehorn sort of jokes in, and then it was like Sam Matterface, and it was like that WWE thing, that guy with the really long sort of shopping list with all those sort of things on.
Yeah, it was like he said one for the England game that went sort of viral. It was like keep calm and Harry on or something, or keep Harry on, and you think. It's not funny. You've obviously fucking, thought of that before the game.
Yeah.
What are you doing, man? Just give it a rest. I quite like is it Clive Tilsley and Ali McCoist?
Yeah. Good. They're the best. They're the best pairing for me. Them.
And I like Ali McCoist has that
heroes, haven't they?
Yeah. And Ali McCoist has that sort of just that everyman about him. He's not trying to be too clever. He'll admit when he don't know something or don't know much about a player, and he's like, he's got that fan element as well. I'm loving what I'm seeing here from him. I didn't know this. He was that good or whatever. Whereas, the other two are just fucking make me.
I think Emma Hayes is really good as well, actually, as a pundit on Co-Coms. I think she's impressive. Right, but Jenas was saying as well that England players, it was Ukraine that were in awe of England, apparently. How arrogant that is to say. They're in awe of them. What are they, some sort of like mythical characters they've got in front of them or something? They're in awe of them.
I mean, Jenas is like the one in it. He's like uniting the nation more than the England team is, to be honest with you. I think like whenever I go on socials, like everyone agrees they can't stand him, and yet he's on everything.
If he was just like, there's a lot of people who have sort of come in for this because there's so many more games, so the staff has to be a lot bigger, so you get a few more peripheral pundits, don't you, that maybe wouldn't be so good. If Jenas was one of them where it was like, once every 2 years we hear from him because there's a major tournament, you could put up with it. But he's the main guy for like 4 different shows. He does that Match of the Day Extra. He does Match of the Day half the time. He does Football Focus or whatever every other week. He's on the radio all the time.
The one show? Who's giving him that gig?
On the one show as well.
What's that about?
Just chill out with Jermaine Jenas. He's fine. He's fine. And they're putting him forward like he's some genius. I honestly don't understand how he keeps getting more and more jobs. And he talks like he. I don't know. People think he's this sort of young whippersnapper as well. He's like 45. He's just fine. Why is he the main person?
How he refers to all the England players by their first name as well, and their nicknames.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, Trent.
Yeah, it's like, mate, they're not your mates. You don't know him. Like, you don't hang around with him, and you don't know what you're on about. It's weird because me and you spoke about this, Joe, haven't we, in the past about Jenas. It's like we don't understand how he's managed to get himself to a position where he is the main man on so many channels when he's not the most successful player. I think he won 1 trophy in his career. Yeah. He's not like a hero to anyone. It's not like all the Spurs fans adore Jermaine Jenas or the Newcastle fans fucking worship him. None of them really care about him that much. He's not particularly like done his homework. You get some players who weren't that great, but as a pundit, like Danny Higginbottom's the obvious example. He just does his homework and knows his stuff. He doesn't like do his homework. And also, I find him a little bit arsey. Like he doesn't. Phil Neville, where he was like, "Are you trying to talk to me about being a central midfielder?" And I thought, Phil, just fucking tell him you've won more titles as a central midfielder than he's won fucking adult dinners. And he's just like, Phil's like,
It's the type of thing I'd expect to hear that sort of product on like an illegal stream instead of the BBC. It's that sort of level.
Yeah. Where all really the adverts have got like euros on them, and you're like, what country is this? I don't know what country this is. And but Jermaine Jenas is commentating, and you go, yeah, that makes sense because he couldn't get a BBC job, but he's got just everywhere.
the gig with Astro Supersport in Singapore alongside several other washed-up Premier League players that you've forgotten sort of existed.
And a few players who are gaff-prone and have checkered histories in terms of the way they speak about foreign players.
Yeah.
Managed to get a job.
Is he on there with Ron Atkinson?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's where you think he would be, but he's top of the pops.
And crossover as well, like the One Show. So it's not even football. It's not even like this guy's just they think, oh, he's so good at the football. We'll give him all these football gigs. It's like he's doing just stories about whatever, interviewing Mel Brooks or whatever. It's just like, what is this about? It's just bizarre.
And he's not. It's not like he's dead funny. And like you said, he always seems to have an edge of if the joke is towards him or at him, he doesn't laugh along with it.
No.
And if you're presenting the sort of flagship light entertainment show of the UK, you need to have a little bit of that at least. At least Matt Baker nods and smiles along while people are taking the piss out of him.
Matt Baker, the only question he asked at his guests ever was, what was it like? That was it. That was all he ever said.
That's all you want to know when someone gets trapped in a well for 2 weeks. What was it like in the well?
The One Show gets some decent guests on. As in, it'll be like someone that saved a child living in a cave for 2 weeks, and he'll treat it like it's show and tell. Like,
what was it like?
It's just like, what was it like?
I love it. I love that though. It's like he didn't know. It's like he's just gone on air, and 3 seconds before he's gone on air, they've told him who his guest is. So he's got no research. He's got nothing. He's just going. So, what was it like?
Yeah. Like, what was it like? Could be another name for the One Show though, couldn't it? Up next, it's what was it like?
Yeah.
You know what I mean, that sounds like it could be the show
about
name anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I kind of respect that level of just not being asked.
Yeah, his Instagram account was flooded. He used to post stuff on his Instagram, and all the comments were just, "What was it like?" Like hundreds and hundreds of people.
Is he the one that asked David Cameron, "How do you sleep at night?"
Yeah, but by mistake. He didn't obviously mean that. It was just.
But the way he said it, like if you wrote that down, you'd think, "Fuck me, that's an amazing question to ask David Cameron after what he's done to this country." But he was like, either way he worded it was like, "How do you sleep at night?" Like, do you know what I mean?
And there was a fire alarm that went off. And instead of evacuating the building, he asked like the random guests that he had on that awful green sofa, "What do you get when you cross dogs with like lizards or something?" As everyone else was getting like evacuated from the building and the fire alarm was going off.
I like the casual dig at the sofa there as well, James. What's the sofa ever done to you?
Just
awful green sofa.
All right, Trini and Susanna.
It's just a horrible sofa.
That garish 4-legged nasty piece of work. That's looks scratchy as well. The feng shui is right off in that room.
I'm glad you picked up on that, Joe. I was thinking, what gives a shit what the furniture's like? I mean, none of it. What was the punchline to his joke, by the way?
Joke?
The dogs and lizards.
Dog one. No, the point was that there was a fire and everyone was getting evacuated from the building, and it's peak One Show that he was still asking his guests some pointless question that was, in the grand scheme of things, irrelevant when there was a fire alarm going off and everyone else was getting evacuated from the building.
Disgraceful behaviour.
I respect that. He goes willing to go down with the ship, like any good captain should.
Yes.
It is the band on the Titanic, though, isn't it, during the pandemic? You've got all this other stuff, and then there's the One Show that's still going on, asking the meaningless questions as the whole country sort of goes to shit.
Christopher Biggins over Zoom 3 nights a week.
I've never seen it. I've never really watched it properly. I've seen clips
Russell Howard pretending he's drunk.
Yeah, but I've never actually sat down and watched the full episode of it. I'll have to give it a go.
Shit. I don't
Is
like
it?
Yeah.
I saw it when Mel...
Go on.
No, I was just going to say that I'm reason I referenced Mel Brooks. I saw the clip when he was on, and he was like how crazy it was because they were literally like interviewing him about his latest Hollywood film, and then next coming up is a woman from Chichester who's found a dog in a garden. And it's like, and he's like, "What is this show about? Like, what is it? This is the most crazy show I've ever been on. What is it? What is going on?" He couldn't get his head around it. It was hilarious.
It's like the new Partridge series. That's pretty much the One Show, isn't it? Like, they've pretty much taken off that. That's far more entertaining. But has there been any more sort of footballers that have gone into presenting that way? Because I know there's been D.O. Dublin, aren't they, on Home Under the Hammer? Has there been anyone else?
He's a hero.
David Icke is the sort of one that stands out.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yes. Gary Lineker obviously does different things, doesn't he? Like, he doesn't just do football stuff.
What else does he do?
No, like, well, he does sport for like the Olympics and stuff, doesn't he? He does like sports stuff. But has he not done like?
He's done crisp adverts. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Does he not do sort of light entertainment stuff as well? Or am I just imagining that? I've always thought of him like doing. Again, I know it's sport, but like he did. You know when he did like They Think It's All Over and stuff like that.
Yeah, that is well.
Yeah, I mean that's fucking hell. That's got a lot to answer for, hasn't it? With bloody Lee Hurst.
Goodness me. And Mr. Hancock as well.
Nick Hancock, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. There's not. I can't think of many, to be honest with you, who've done the sort of.
Do you know how much the actual BBC spent? I think maybe 20, 30 grand doing training for Dion Dublin to present on Homes Under the Hammer.
I love
30 grand. Yeah, I think he's a great bloke. Stairs.
30 grand. What? Just exactly. The stairs up to the bathroom. He spent 30 grand on training him to say that.
Yeah, it was 30 grand.
He saw them coming, didn't he? Yeah, it'll cost about 30 grand, I think.
Yeah.
What, a day and a half training? Yeah. It's probably going to... Well, it's what I would have made if I'd not done it, so yeah, you got to have that on. 30 grand. Yeah, that'll do. 30 grand. Whatever, somewhere around there. 30 grand. And if not 30 grand, 400 quid. No, 30 grand. Yeah, you agreed to that. Cheers. Perfect. Yeah. Thank you. He's done him.
Yeah. Go on, Dion.
Can I share my screen and shows you the Bein Sports studio, which I think is it's pretty incredible, really. Hang on, Chrome tab. It looks like the Crystal Maze.
Oh yeah, I think I need to add it. There we go.
It looks like Ninja Warrior. So you expect to see some bloke with a six-pack swinging past in the background and a timer in the bottom corner. Why does it look like Ninja Warrior?
So you've got there. Is it Peter Schmeichel and who's the one in the middle? Is it Rudolph? I can't see.
It's Hullet, isn't it?
I think it's Hullet, yeah.
Sorry, my eyesight's shocking.
And is that Andy Gray on the right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is.
And you got Richie Keys as well presenting it, which is
brilliant. He's done well, Richie Keys.
Right. He's nice, good salary though, isn't he? Very good salary.
He's made it work in because he started off at my old station Piccadilly years ago, just as I think he was basically a weatherman almost. But yeah, now he's like, despite everything that's gone on, he's absolutely raking it in.
Yeah,
he's like Teflon, isn't he? I mean, what else fucking hell?
Yeah,
could he do?
He's like, and also now he's like when he speaks, like he's this football expert, like not like he's the presenter. So it's like you'll have someone there, like fucking, I don't know, Wenger, who's won the lot or whatever and managed, and been one of the sort of, most famous managers of all time. And Keys will be giving his opinion on the game and what he thinks about certain players. You're like, bro, shut the fuck up. You're there to ask him questions. No one cares whether you think Anthony Martial dives or whatever. Just shut up. But he's just like sat there telling us why Roy Keane wasn't very good and things like that. And you're like, what are you on about? Honestly, and like you can see how the guests are like embarrassed for his opinions. Like, I don't know about that one.
I quite happily worked there though for the salaries, so I'm a huge hypocrite.
Well, we know about the company. We know about the company that you keep, mate, with your friends who work for GB News, and we know what you're like.
Well,
yeah, no scruples over there, have you? Hey, okay, now.
Pen for hire. Jay, you wanted to talk about the latest election results?
Yeah, sorry to be that guy and be boring and, the elections again. Yeah. Jay's name of his election update. Oh, there's been a by-election in Batley and Spen. Oh, I was up all night waiting for those results. Get a fucking life, Jay, you sad bastard. But I am that guy, I'm afraid. My life has become that. And the reason I wanted to talk about it, because it was... most of the time, a by-election in Batley and Spen would be completely irrelevant to pretty much anything other than the people of Batley and Spen. But it did feel a little bit more important because Keir Starmer was under pressure, lost Hartlepool, was never expected to win Cheshire and Amersham, but got 627 votes, I think, got 622 votes, I think, in total, which was
like they were voting for like student councillors at a primary school.
Yeah,
like,
it was.
That's that kind of numbers, isn't it?
Yeah, it was like the lowest amount of votes they've ever got.
Katie and Ben, you've got 600 votes. You will represent the year at the council meetings. Honestly, embarrassing.
That's what I mean. It was shocking. It was so bad that even though, they were never expected to win, it was that bad. It became an issue. And then going into Batley and Spen, which obviously is Joe Cox's old seat, Tracy Babbin's seat. She'd gone to become the mayor of, is it West Yorkshire or whatever? Which again was a gamble. And it's like, this could be a gamble that doesn't pay off. Kim Leadbeater was the candidate, Joe Cox's sister. So in theory, you think, it would be a safe Labour seat, even though the margin wasn't massive, because it's Joe Cox who was very popular. It's her sister. Tracy Babbin was a relatively popular MP and she'd backed her as well. But it became a bit of an issue. George Galloway went there, taking a big chunk of what would expected to be Labour voters. And also with everything that had been going on with the Tories, for them to take that seat would have been disastrous for Keir Starmer, and it would have been another nail in his coffin. There were reports that Angela Rayner was ready to launch a coup against him, although she's denied it. So it was one of those that, had he lost, it would have been really interesting. And Labour didn't. They won it by like 320 odd votes, I think. So they just about got over the line. But Starmer sort of spun it into this big victory and went down there and said Labour are back and all this sort of stuff. And it's one of them, you think that maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it, but could this be a turning point? Is he doomed? Because I've always thought he was doomed, Starmer. And I think had he lost that, I think he would have been. My only sort of disappointing thing is I don't know if anyone comes in that's particularly much different than him. I think it's just another centrist. But he lives to fight another day, and maybe now he can sort of start getting a bit of momentum behind him. Not actual momentum, move back Corbyn, but some momentum and getting the party a bit more united behind him, because it's one of them where he had to I feel like he had to win it, although it's people are saying now, if he'd have lost it, he'd still carried on. I just think it would have been untenable. And it was such a close call as well. I know Galloway's challenging it in court, but that's fucking pointless.
Comes across as such a pleasant man, doesn't he, George Galloway?
Well, the thing is as well, like with Galloway, he just brought out the worst in everyone, because you had like there were people in the street berating Kim Leadbeater about her support of LGBT rights, and then these people were saying, this is like he was trying to court the Muslim vote, and then making out like Muslims were homophobic, and it just brought out the absolute pits of everything. And you think this is a constituency where, was it 4 or 5 years ago, the MP actually got shot in the street. And you think, what? You think they try and do things a bit nicer and kinder. It just became like so divisive, so horrible. And, at the end of it, Labour won. And now it's like, can Starmer build on that? And is this as well the end of Galloway's whatever he's doing?
It's not even from Cheshire and Amersham. And his mate
from Batley and Spen, sorry.
Batley and Spen, that he got to come along with him and berate Kim Leadbeater. Neither of them were actually from the constituency. So I don't know why. I know why he's standing next. He wants to become an MP again. But like, at least pick a constituency that you're somehow related to.
He's for it, hasn't he, Galloway? He's done it. He's won it a couple of times. He's won like a couple of seats where he's just gone in there and won. But I think he ran in Manchester, didn't he, about 4 years ago?
Yeah, it's Gorton. I think he was running
Gorton. That's it. West Gorton, thank you, against Afzal Khan, and he lost handsomely. He didn't even turn up for the count. So it was interesting because it's two things. Maybe this is the end of Galloway, sort of his sway. I don't know, but it's just for me the interesting thing is, can this be a moment for Keir Starmer? Because stranger things have happened, to be honest with you, and I don't know. I hope not, but maybe it is.
Did you see the images and footage afterwards when they've won? And it looked like someone on Starmer's PR team have said, take your tie off and try to act a little bit more northern, a bit more working class. He's got his tie off, and every picture is like, I'll try and get some on the screen, or James, you can on yours. And he's just got his hands up in the air, and every single picture looks so fucking canned, like he's won a speedboat on fucking Bullseye. Do you know what I mean? Let's see if we can get them.
Is this George Galloway?
I think I found one.
Let's see if
I can share this. Share screen. Oh, I don't know if I can. I think I've got to fucking do my assistant's preferences. James, if you just put a search in Batley and Spen in Twitter, Starmer, I just did Keir Starmer Batley, and then just press photos. The first one that comes up is exactly what Scott is on about.
Right. I'm looking forward to this. I've not seen this.
You've nailed it, Scotty. It's just the first one I saw was just what you've just said.
But it's loads of them.
Yeah,
and it's like, she gets walking down the street, and he's walking down the street. We'll get in front of the pub.
There we go.
All right, let me just
that one.
Yeah, there's the one. Look at that. I mean, that is just... It's again, though, it's that whole thing of stand there and do this and try and look human. Do you know what I mean? It's like have you seen the football ones of him in the pub?
Yeah.
It's like England goal.
Have you seen it when I'll stop doing that now. Mark on a Peep Show when he tries playing football. That's what it reminds me of.
It is just so cringe. And the whole politicians doing football thing is horrible anyway, because you've seen them all like coming out of the woodwork.
Pretty Patel.
Pretty Patel, who was saying boo him a fucking few weeks ago, is now saying, come on England and all this shit. But yeah, Starmer's like he just feels like another cyborg. But just interesting to me to see what happens with him as someone who used to support Labour and now doesn't, to see if there is any hope for that party. So
you're not going to vote for Labour again then?
Not with him as leader. And, me and you have spoken about this, Scotty, and, I rattled a few cages when I said he lost my vote with the whole LBC white supremacist thing and both sides in the argument. I just thought, I can't, and I can't back this guy. There's been other instances as well. And also, I think it annoys me when it's like, oh, we're not the Tories, so vote for us. And we're the only option. If you don't vote for us, the Tories will get in. You've got to earn my vote, man. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you don't just, I'm not as shit as them, so vote for me. No. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to do that. Like, start talking for me and what you're going to do for me to make my life better, rather than I'm not going to be as big of a twat as Boris Johnson. Because, no, I'm not doing that. So, I'd never say I'd turn me back completely on Labour. I like Paul Dennett, the Salford mayor. I voted for him in the recent elections. I like Andy Burnham personally. I'm not a massive fan of some of his policies, but for me at the minute, Labour with Starmer at the helm.
What do you make of Long Bailey, because isn't she Salford and Eccles?
Yeah, she is, mate. I think she's Salford. I know she's Eccles. Barbara Keeley's our local MP. I think she is Salford, though. You're right. I like Rebecca Long Bailey. I think this is the thing, though. She's quite left wing, and it feels like Starmer's getting rid of all the left wingers. I know there was the issue with the Maxine Peake article, which is why ostensibly he got rid of her when she sort of praised that. But it does feel like the trouble with Labour for me is it's just moving more and more, not even to the centre, but to the right. And so, you look at like the pay increase for the NHS, for the nurses. We're not backing a 1% pay increase. We want 2%. What? You fucking mental. 2% when everyone wants 15%, and you met with a Labour Party. That is an open goal. And you had Kim Leadbeater in Batley and Spen literally saying in an interview, people need to realise there's no magic money tree for pay rises for the nurses. That was a Theresa May line. That's what Theresa May said about pay rises for the NHS. There's no magic money tree. And now you're actually quoting Theresa May verbatim when you're a Labour candidate. It's just fucking shite. I'm sorry. So, no, they're not really getting my vote in a minute.
If the pandemic has taught me anything, it's that I do believe there is a magic money tree, because they just spent fucking billions of pounds.
Yeah. It grew pretty fucking fast over the last 18 months, didn't it? Yeah. Look at that. All we had to do was water it with a global pandemic, and it grew like fuck.
Yeah.
Amazing. Look, all this cash that's falling off it. We can give it to our mates. Perfect. Look at this cash. We'll give it to our mates and our wives. Brilliant. Love that magic money tree.
Yeah.
There was another thing in the Times today about another lord that was involved with the whole Matt Hancock fiasco, that's apparently up to his neck in corruption, that hasn't been exposed yet, but will be apparently in the next few weeks. It's like every week there's like a new thing that just seems to come out, and no one's asked anymore. It's like, yeah, well, that's another corrupt person that's got another.
Yeah, it's become so. It's just wallpaper now, isn't it? Corrupt, and nobody really does anything about it.
It's weird, isn't it? Because, you think you'd be outraged at some of it, but I feel like there is that much of it that you're just like, oh, he's done what, has he? He's given his mate a contract. For what? 10 billion? Fucking hell.
But again, though, you realise, like, they talk about the minister's code used to mean something and people used to resign for this sort of thing, but they just used to cover it up better. Like, social media, again, is another thing where it's harder to cover stuff like that up now than it used to be. So instead of them sort of tactically leaking things when they want to sack someone, they just can't cover it up, and we've got used to it. Because people still used to do the same stuff, giving their sisters this, their wives that, getting a duck pond with their expenses, all that sort of crap that they used to do. It's just that now they can't choose when it comes out like they used to be able to do. It's not like they're less. It's not they're not more corrupt now. It's just harder to cover it up. So we've got used to it. But they can't use it as a tool the way they used to. But people are just as corrupt as they ever were, or they were always as corrupt as they are now. Probably worse, really.
Yeah, it's just easier to put a CCTV in the minister's office.
Exactly. That is what it is.
Top shagger, Matt.
Top shagger. Speaking about top shaggers, we were talking about it last week, and Michael Gove's missus wrote that funny article, didn't you? And now they've announced that they're getting a divorce, haven't they, Sarah Vine and Michael Gove? And I just got to be thinking, who's shagging Michael Gove?
How's he got a wife and a mistress? That's unreal.
Yeah.
That has to be like just a hat with loads of names of MPs in that someone just has to put the name in, and I've got a shag go. I've got a go. Yeah. I can't believe this. The one I didn't want to get. The only I would have done Reece Mogg over this. Go. Imagine pulling his name out of the hat.
They probably have like an NHS contract sweepstake or something, whereby you get like a cabinet minister, and like you get more money for each different one, depending on what contract you get.
Like on FIFA, you pick a pre-season tournament for your team to enter, and you're more proud money if you get this one, but it's hard teams you have to play. That's what it's like. You'll get more money for your contract, but you do have to shag Gove. That's the trade-off. You get an extra 50 grand, but you've got Gove waiting for you.
It's like, when you sign a player on Football Manager and you got clauses and it's like non-negotiable. 6 tags.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Have you seen the news that the PM today is going to confirm 19th July and COVID rules, despite his scientists saying otherwise? So it is like we're going to come out of lockdown for full on the 19th of July. Do you think that's right to do that?
Yeah, is this like no masks or anything? Is this?
Yeah, well, masks are going to become like it's a personal choice.
I wouldn't trust Sajid Javid personally. Just don't have a great feeling about him, really.
No, I know what you mean. I don't think he's got the NHS best interest at heart somehow. Let alone
if he oversaw the collapse of British Steel or anything before.
It's like when he was making his first speech, and it was just full of things like, my job is to get the economy moving. He's like, no, it's not. That's literally not your fucking job. What are you talking about? Like, your job's to make sure the health of the nation's okay, not get the economy moving. Yeah, it's like, why are you giving this speech? Do you even know what your job is? I was like, honestly.
My job is to make sure that this branch of Wilkinson's gets back on its feet. No, wrong one. Right, my job is to make footballs and sell. No, it's not that one either. My job is to deliver newspapers before 7:30 a.m. Monday. No, you're not a paper. No, it's the help. Forget it. Move him along. Just don't know what his job is.
It's like, you're thinking, has everyone gone mad here? Why is he saying these words, and why is no one challenging him on them? Like, that's not your job at all. Like, you know what I mean? Usually the health secretary and the chancellor have been like at odds, because it's like, they're closing like things down and reopening the economy. I'm not saying Matt Hancock was some sort of hero, because he wasn't, but you'd expect him to be pushing back on certain things. And with Javid, he just feels like, no, he's just going to do whatever Sunak wants him to do and just get the economy moving as quickly as possible, regardless of the consequences to people's health.
So I'm still going to wear a face mask.
Yeah.
After what he said, it just doesn't make sense. I don't know why you wouldn't, because even if they said it's still like it's only recommended, if the World Health Organization, if everyone else has said wear a face mask to reduce the spread of it, you just do it. Surely,
Yeah, and also not just COVID. I ain't had a cold in 2 years. You know what I mean? Like it's got rid of it. Helps everything. It's not there's other things I don't want that face masks help with, and I won't mind not having a cold for the next 2 years or whatever, 18 months, whatever it is. I've had nothing. Amazing. I'm going to keep wearing it. So is the suggestion then that we should be waiting a bit longer till more people have been vaccinated? Or is
That's what the scientists are saying, that because the increase in infections are rising week on week. They think we should delay it. But now, I mean, even when you walk around now, it just seems like nobody's wearing masks. Like when I go on like public transport or the supermarket, I'm always very much the exception to the rule nowadays and getting looked at like a weirdo. I mean, where I live in the country, it's a little bit 1980s Brexit town, but so that's that's a little bit more about that. But it does feel like a lot of people just sort of give up now.
It's sad as well because it's like you just feel like this becomes another way to divide us. Like if it's compulsory, then you're wearing a mask because you've got to, and then it's like people then who don't believe in wearing a mask looking down, like you were saying, Scotty, giving you funny looks because you are, and it's like it becomes this whole thing of I can't believe you're going along with it, you sheep. Why are you wearing a mask? And it's like, do we really need another reason to sort of argue and bicker with one another? Like if you want to wear a mask, I'm with you. I probably will wear a mask, to be honest with you. I don't mind wearing it. It doesn't bother me. Like I'm not like, I can't breathe or I'm struggling or I feel funny wearing it. And, I feel like the scientists say it does a bit of good. Then, why are we not listening to them? You know what I mean? What is this attitude of the British Bulldog spirit will just overcome science? It's just fucking ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? It's like, we don't need to listen to scientists. We don't need to worry about, the disease. We just need a bit of, bit of the old Dunkirk fighting attitude. And you're like, well, no, we don't. That doesn't work. So like, well, why is that a thing?
Yeah. Well, James, what was that you were trying to talk about? The Badlands Booker doing the lemonade chugging for the 4th of July.
Yeah, I came across it on my Twitter feed, and I'll share it with you because it is a really sensational video. It really is. Essentially, this YouTube fella, there's a competition. This is what I love about American TV is that this was on ESPN, and it was about a guy who broke the record for the 4th of July lemonade chug, which is like an event, fastest time to drink lemonade.
What was the previous record?
I don't know, but I will if my Twitter decides to load, which it should do now.
I like
I'll get it up now. It's worth the wait.
Let's have a look.
Here we go.
What would be your lemonade of choice, Jay?
My lemonade of choice? I'm just an old-fashioned white drinker, me.
Look at that.
It's like the cloudy hipster brand. Looking at.
Yeah. No. What about you, Joe? Joe, what's your lemonade choice?
Sprite.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Eric Badlands Booker.
I mean, the thing that people often say is, you often hear that I don't know where he puts it, but I'm afraid we can't say that on this occasion, can we? Here he goes. Look at that. Joey Chestnuts, by the way, looking on. That man there who was looking up at him is the greatest hot dog eater and competitive eater of all time.
Fucking America.
Sensational.
What's it? Well, mine is now on him.
It must be metabolism. It must be.
Americans have the fucking weirdest sort of like traditions. Did you see the redneck rave that got cancelled the other week? There's a festival in Kentucky called the Redneck Rave, and it ended in violence. And amongst the incidents were there was strangulation, severed fingers, impalement, a throat slitting, as well as 30 drug and alcohol-related offences. And it's built to happen again later on in the autumn. Fucking mad.
All of those things you said there just sound like heavy metal bands, don't they? Throat slitting, severed fingers. I used to be in a band called Severed Fingers when I was younger. When I was going through my dark phase, yeah.
I love how old school it is as well.
Yeah.
It's like
severed fingers.
Severed fingers. Like, what is this, medieval times?
Yeah.
This event has been cancelled due to jousting incidents. What?
Yeah. A public hanging. What? How's that happened?
I was waiting for the bit of obviously redneck in Kentucky. I was waiting for the shooting or something, but no, it was severed fingers and throat slitting.
Yeah.
That's one.
Absolutely.
I was going to say, actually, they've got Major League Eating in America as well. They've got their own sort of things set up for sort of eating competitions. I was watching a documentary about this Japanese guy that went over there and broke the record for the most sort of hot dogs eaten in one go.
Major League Eating? It's strange that this is the same. This is the same country that's got the biggest obesity problem in the world, isn't it? And they've got a major league eating competition.
It's mad, isn't it? As though you've all been to America, haven't you? When you go like to the all-you-can-eat buffets and that, and it's different fucking level, in it. It's like, what is that about? Like that is, over here you'd have like a chicken drumstick and some vol au vents or something. Do you know what I mean? Over there, it's like fucking every food that's ever been created, like for a $5.
I mean, going in like supermarkets as well, like our Morrison's Cafe compared to theirs is like next level, isn't it?
Morrison's Cafe. That is the peak. I like your choice there. Hey, our Morrison's Cafe.
Morrison's Cafe.
That's a good spot. Yeah. Has anyone ever been to that?
I don't feel like this is a fair fight, James.
Primark? Morrison's Cafe. Sausage and a bean, $1.99. Not bloody bad, not bad.
Morrison's Cafe.
They don't know the look.
That's comparable.
No, but in Walmart in America, they have like their version of Morrison's Cafe is like massive, and it's like 2 stories. It's like a full-on restaurant, and we've got like the deal at Waitrose where you can get a free coffee when you shop there. Compared to what they have, it's like it's mad.
Yeah. They have McDonald's in a lot of Walmarts in America as well, just like in the store. That's good. That's good.
Do you ever eat in the supermarket though? It's not really sort of. I want to go in and get out. I never thought, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down and have like a bit of a 3-course meal there.
No,
it's not the go-to place, is it?
My grandparents moved tight, so their treat would be Morrison's Cafe.
Yeah, that's fine. Right. You can go with your grandparents, but it's not something that you go and do yourself. I don't think.
I always think they're pretty shit as well. Supermarket cafes. They're never like. No, do you know what I mean? Like
James, cover your ears.
Sorry, like, I'm not judging anyone that goes to it. I just think it's worth just walking round the corner to an actual cafe.
And then you've got Wild Bean Cafe, which is like the... That's worse. A lot worse.
Yeah, I don't feel you get value for money.
Service station own brand cafe is a level below the Morrison's Cafe.
Service station cafes have fucking lost the plot, haven't they? Where it's like 27 quid for a fucking a sandwich and a drink, and you're like, what even is this?
Yeah, it's like what are you gonna do, eh?
Yeah. You want to drive 74 miles down the road, mate? Fucking fill your boots.
But having said that, I mean, Strensham is a good service station. There's a lot there.
I can't.
Sorry, are we just all doing an Alan Partridge impression now?
I quite like Keele.
Keele's a good one, yeah.
Keele used to be a belter.
The Lancaster one that you go past, like the space station, isn't it? Have you driven past that one before?
I'm not so sure. Probably.
It's got like a really weird building next to it that looks like a sort of space station. It's like, and there's the other one that you go past. And it's got that bridge across the top of it that sort of promotes that that band. I've forgotten what they're called, but they've got like a big flag beneath it.
There's a show in the
making. Your knowledge here, James. Do you even drive?
Well, no, but I've been. I don't drive.
Well, no, but I'm a very perceptive passenger. I've always got my eyes open on the road.
You don't know about service stations and any truck driver I know. And you don't even drive.
I've been on the coach quite a bit to see United. So.
Oh, all right, fair enough.
Always looking out the window.
With his notebook.
Yeah. Actually, it normally stops.
This 4 out of 5 stars. Sorry, mate, what did you say?
It normally stops off at Strensham because that's sort of halfway.
My memory's shocking as well. I've been to a lot of service stations. I always forget what they're called.
Well, if you out there that are watching, go on, James.
I was just finished. Cardiff Gate Services is actually one of the most famous service stations in the UK. It was actually used in Gavin and Stacey, so there we have it.
Brilliant. You will not find trivia like that on any other podcast or YouTube channel. The greatest service stations in the UK, presented by our very own James Young. That's been Jay Motter. That's been Joel Smith. I've been Dave Scott. Subscribe, share, tell your mates, and we shall see you next week. And if you have a favourite service station, drop it in the comments.
Or tell